All right. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of our entire team, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to Care Center's Day 5 Nursing Week event. We are especially honored to have with us a distinguished panel of nurses whose dedication, expertise, and compassion define the very best of healthcare. To our panelists, thank you for taking the time to join us. Your insights, experiences, and voices are not only valuable, they're vital. Today's discussion is a celebration of the critical role nurses play across all levels of care, and we're so grateful to have you here to lead it, celebrating journeys of resilience, self-fulfillment, and passion. We look forward to an engaging conversation and to learning from the incredible work each of you does every single day. We're also very happy to mention that we have with us Dr. Ramesh, the program director at York University's Bridging Program, which is actually still accepting applications. So for those IENs that are looking, please connect with your case manager and we can help you connect with Dr. Ramesh's program. Thank you to all of you, our participants, for joining us in the celebration, and thank you to our Care Center team for coordinating and endlessly working supporting these wonderful transformation stories of IENs. But before we get started, we would like to take a minute to acknowledge our land. We acknowledge that we are gathered today on the traditional territories of Indigenous peoples who are the past, present, and future caretakers of this land that we call Canada. We acknowledge that we are gathered today virtually for Care Center's 2025 Nursing Week events, with participants attending from coast to coast on the ancestral and unceded territories of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We respect and affirm the inherent and treaty rights of all Indigenous peoples across this land. We recognize that we each have a role to play in the path to decolonization and ask you to take this moment to reflect upon and acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past, and to consider how we can each, in our own way, move forward in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. So before we dive in to learn a little bit more from all our panelists, I'd love to take this moment to introduce you to someone very special here at Care Center, both a friend and an incredible colleague, our pre- and post-arrival case manager and communications lead, Tina Novotny. I've had the pleasure of working with Tina here at Care Center for the last few years, and I can honestly say Tina brings a rare combination of professionalism, passion, and warmth to everything she does, whether it's supporting IENs, collaborating with the team, or bringing fresh ideas to the table. Tina always shows up with dedication and heart. I'm excited you'll all get to know her a bit better today, as she will be moderating today's panel. And I have to say, you're in for a real treat. Tina Novotny is a certified English as a second language teacher. She currently is a case manager and communications lead with Care Center for Internationally Educated Nurses. Tina has worked for a variety of healthcare organizations, including the Ontario Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care, the Ontario Hospital Association, the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario, and Parkdale Queen West Community Health Center. She is a skilled content producer and communication specialist with extensive experience in journalism and public relations. She holds a master's in arts from the University of Western Ontario, a bachelor of journalism from the University of King's College, and a bachelor of arts in French from Dalhousie University. Tina is a proud first-generation Canadian. Tina, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much, Bessie. And now I'm going to have the great pleasure of introducing you after all your hard work all week, hosting our online sessions, because it's certainly time to shine a spotlight on everything you do, both as a case manager and as our professional development lead. So everybody, here's about Bessie. She's an internationally educated nurse and brings over 20 years of extensive nursing experience, including clinical practice in infectious disease and medical oncology units. Since registering as a registered nurse in Ontario in 2014 and spending over 6 years as a certified chemotherapy RN with Sunnybrook Health, Bessie has shifted her professional focus to support fellow IENs and their partners in care. Drawing on her past experience as a clinical educator and nursing administrator, Bessie currently holds the dual role of case manager and professional development lead with Care Center for IENs. She's passionate about supporting IENs integration through education and professional development sessions, professional partnerships, and programming initiatives. After Care Center's recent collaboration with the Toronto Metropolitan University, Bessie is also currently an instructor at TMU, teaching the Transition to Practice course for IENs. Bessie is strongly committed to supporting IENs in reaching their full potential and becoming tomorrow's nursing leaders in the Ontario healthcare system.
Thank you so much. I have to say, I am humbled and so proud to be part of this, not team, I'm going to say family. So with that said, I am gonna pass it over to two recorded messages we have. Unfortunately, these two incredible people could not attend live, but they have sent us a recorded message for all of you. The first one is from Dr. Lee Chapman, named in 2023 as one of McLean's top 10 healthcare innovators and is one of the 50 most influential Torontoians. Dr. Lee Chapman is a leader within the field of nursing and healthcare. Lee is a registered nurse with over 20 years of experience. Over the course of her career, Lee has gained a deep understanding of nursing through her work in both frontline and clinical leadership capacities. Her professional experience spans various settings, including clinical care, education, research, professional practice, administration, policy, and advocacy. After obtaining her bachelor's degree, Lee completed a master in clinical health sciences from the nursing graduate program at McMaster University. Lee then completed her doctoral work in 2019 at the Lawrence Bloomberg Faculty of Nursing at the University of Toronto. Her research provided key insights into ways in which the regulation of health professional intersects with organizational priorities in acute care settings. As Chief Nursing Officer, Lee recognizes the important contribution of nurses at the federal level and aims to ensure their integration into decisions impacting their profession. Within her role, Lee provides strategic advice from a nursing perspective on priority policy and program areas. She plays a convening role with provincial, territorial governments, federal departments, regulatory bodies, colleges, educators, and others on key nursing issues. Additionally, Lee represents the Government of Canada at public forums, both within and outside Canada. Lee is committed to advancing the nursing profession in Canada to ensure equitable access to safe, quality care for all.
This week is National Nursing Week, a time to celebrate and acknowledge nurses, the first point of contact for many people when receiving health care. Today, I'm meeting with nurses at Briere Health St. Vincent Hospital in Ottawa, which offers specialized services for patients with complex needs. As Canada's Chief Nursing Officer, I see firsthand the positive impact nurses make and how they can transform not only the health of their patients and communities, but also the healthcare system. A stronger and more sustainable healthcare system needs empowered nurses. This is why, together with the nursing community, the Nursing Retention Toolkit was developed to help support nurses, keep them in the profession, and improve their working lives. Since its release, nursing employers and health authorities across Canada are implementing various initiatives within the toolkit, like here at Briere Health, where they have incorporated it into their hospital-wide strategic plan. Visit canada.ca/nursing toolkit if you want to learn more. On behalf of the Government of Canada, thank you, nurses, for your dedication and contribution to better healthcare.
Well, big thank you to Dr. Lee Chapman for all she does for us nurses. And now we're going to pass it on to a recorded message we have from Dr. Valerie Gardissa. Dr. Valerie Gardissa brings over 30 years of diverse experience across public, private, non-for-profit, and senior government roles with deep knowledge of Canada's health system. She has worked in Alberta and Ontario and served in various capacities in 11 out of the 13 provinces and territories, including the federal government. She has led transformation initiatives focused on care system redesign, health and human service integration, and workforce strategies both nationally and internationally. Beginning her nursing career in 1988 at Mount Sinai Hospital in Toronto, Valerie has held roles from RN and NP to clinical educator, senior management, and chief nursing executive. Her extensive academic background includes faculty appointments at 7 Canadian universities with a focus on health and human services integration. Previously, she served as CEO of the Canadian Mental Health Association Simcoe County branch. Valerie's committed to optimizing the role of regulated nurses and ensuring the voices of 478,000 plus nurses and nursing students that are heard. She is dedicated to advancing national nursing and health policy in collaboration with the Board of Directors, CNA members, and partners across Canada.
Hello, I am Valerie Gardista, CEO of the Canadian Nurses Association, and I am so pleased to be part of this special celebration with you. National Nursing Week takes place from May 12th to the 18th, and this year's theme, The Power of Nurses to Transform Health is an important reminder of the vital role nurses play every day. Nurses are not only at the heart and mind of compassionate care, they're leaders, innovators, and advocates shaping the future of healthcare. A big thank you to the CARE Center for Internationally Educated Nurses for the invitation to share a few words. Your ongoing work to support internationally educated nurses is essential to building a strong, inclusive, and diverse nursing workforce in Canada. To all the IENs in Canada, your dedication, expertise, and experience are a gift to our health system. You bring so much value to our profession, and we are proud to have you as part of the Canadian nursing community and family. At CNA, we're here to support you. When you join CNA, you become a part of a national network of nurses representing more than 470,000 individuals working to advance our profession, support one another, and transform healthcare across the nation, leading the way together. On behalf of everyone at CNA, thank you for everything you do. And once again, happy National Nursing Week 2025.
So I'll pass it on over to Tina to get the panelist and panel started. Anyone that would like to add any questions or comments, please feel free to do that in the Q&A. And for those of you interested in participating in the York University Bridging Program, I will be sharing the registration information link in the chat box, and we will be discussing that further along later today as well. Tina, the floor is yours.
Unmute. Thank you very much. Just before I get to the introductions of the panelists, I wonder, Nicholas, if we can play the video of the call for nominations for the 2025 Joan Lesmond IEN of the Year Awards, because 2 of our 3 are previous winners. Happy Nursing Week to all our Care Center member IENs, our Care Center friends, and all IEN champions and cheerleaders. I'm Tina Novotny, Case Manager and Communications Lead. This is the call for nominations for the 2025 Care Center Joan Lesmond IEN of the Year Awards. Each year since 2011, Care Center recognizes an outstanding member IEN, one in the RN category, one in the RPN category. Member IENs can self-nominate or be nominated by a colleague or a patient and family, or by their case manager. Last year, we had 2 new employers IENs win: University Health Network's Princess Margaret Cancer Center and St. Joseph's Healthcare Hamilton. Care Center has honored 23 members to date as Joan Lesmond IENs of the Year. This year, it could be you. The deadline for nominations is Friday, September 12th. Member IENs should speak with their case manager for more information. Enjoy Care Center's Nursing Week programming and the well-deserved celebrations for all nurses. We appreciate everything you do. Thank you very much for that. So I see we have a long list of participants with us today. So all of you who are Care Center members who've been practicing for at least 1 year, speak to your case manager about getting your nomination in. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce our esteemed panel today. We have with us Dr. Ramesh Perumal, who is an assistant professor at the School of Nursing at York University. He's an internationally educated nurse with more than 30 years of experience in clinicals, teaching, research, and community service, gained at various institutions in India, Oman, and Canada. Ramesh has been a critical care nurse for more than 15 years. He worked as an ICU RN and a clinical practice leader in the ICU. He holds a Bachelor of Science, a Master of Science degree in nursing, and a doctoral degree in nursing, and he is the first doctoral graduate in nursing at York University. He's the undergraduate program director of the Direct Entry BSCN program at York and the program coordinator of the IEN BSCN program. Our presenter number 2 is Belinda Lagria, an RN and RPN who has over 25 years of nursing experience, both in Canada and internationally, in elder care, dementia, and palliative care. She holds a PSW certificate and completed an RPN refresher at Humber College in 2015. With experience at Care Partners and Pioneer Elder Care since 2015, dedicated to lifelong learning, Belinda completed fundamentals of palliative care and comprehensive advanced palliative care education at Hospice Niagara. She also took the massive open online course in undergrad understanding dementia from the University of Tasmania in 2018 and completed the Ontario Bridging Program for IENs, the course consortium for RNs. She also earned LIFA for long-term certification and is currently pursuing CARE's dementia specialist training. A dedicated leader and mentor, she received the Joan Lesman Award in the RPN category in 2019. Belinda currently works in acute care at Niagara Health. And Luciana Lima Diaz da Cruz, RN BSCN, is a care center case manager. She's an IEN from Brazil, practicing since 2007 in various capacities, including educational, community nursing, and acute care. Luciana obtained her bachelor's degree in her native Brazil in 2007. She worked as an RN and taught nursing before coming to Ontario in 2011. Joining Care Center in 2014, she achieved her RPN license through Mohawk College in 2016. She worked in community nursing with St. Elizabeth Healthcare and was an IEN instructor with CIMT College, receiving a Valued Instructor Award in 2017. That year, Luciana moved into ER nursing with Mackenzie Health until 2024, working first as an RPN and completing her RN license in 2022. Luciana was honored with the Joan Lesman IEN of the Year Award in the RPN category in 2022. She obtained a certificate in lactation support from Humber College in 2023 and a lactation and infant feeding certificate at Mama Ole in 2024. She continues working toward the prestigious IBCLC credential. She obtained the RN Prescribing Education Program from the University of Windsor this year and currently teaches at the University of Toronto School of Continuing Education in the Transition to Practice program for IEN registration with the CNO. Driven by a lifelong commitment to nursing excellence, mentorship, and advocacy, her career path exemplifies a dedication to personal and professional growth while making a meaningful impact on individuals and communities. So as you can see, we are going to have a great discussion today. The panel again is called Celebrating IEN Success, A Journey of Resilience, Self-Fulfillment, and Passion. So let me get to our first question. This is a getting to know you question. We will have answers from all three of our panelists. So what made you decide to become a nurse? And in a part two to this question, why did you decide to immigrate and become a nurse in Canada? So we'll go alphabetically. So Belinda, we'll come to you first.
Hi, thank you, Tina, and thank you for having me here. It's a great pleasure. So, I became a nurse because caring for others has always been the core of who I am. Growing up, I saw how nurses were the heart of the healthcare system, providing not just physical care but emotional support to patients and families. That really inspired me to follow this path. Immigrating to Canada was a courageous decision, rooted in my desire to continue my nursing journey in a country that values diversity, excellence in healthcare, and continuous learning. I knew I could bring my experience while growing up personally and professionally. For the past 9 years, I've served in a leadership role in a retirement care, in a specialized care, which is dementia, taking care of people with cognitive impairment, supporting teams and residents with compassion and dedication. Leadership taught me how to advocate for quality care, mentor new nurses, including the IENs, and shape positive workplace culture. Now I've made the intentional decision to return to acute care after years of leading. I felt called to reconnect with direct patient care to sharpen my clinical skills and to continue growing in a fast-paced, ever-evolving environment. It's about going back to the bedside with renewed purpose, bringing leadership experience into hands-on care, and continuing to make a difference what it matters most.
Thank you for that, Belinda. And next, Luciana is going to answer that question, a two-part question for us. Why did you decide to become a nurse? And then why did you want to be a nurse in Canada?
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Tina, for the introduction. It really is like play a video in my mind about walking all this journey until the day that we are today here. Growing up, I was surrounded by books, medical books from my uncle, that he's a doctor, and he used to live with my dad. My dad was a big supporter for his profession, for him to be a doctor. And then I grew up like reading his books and seeing the pictures, special anatomy books and cardiology, because he's a cardiologist. And that sparked in me the curiosity about healthcare. My biggest motivation to become a nurse was how much my family cared for each other. So initial from my dad, then and how much love they care for me, they have for me. My mom was a primary caregiver for her mother. And in the last decade of her life, she lived until 94 years old. So in the last decade, we were very closely with her, providing care in the home. My mom was moving back and forth, like to support her. She came to our house, then we moved to our house in 1998 when I was in my last year of high school. So I had to, the last year of high school, do this move. And I ended up in a nun school in the last year. Not sure how they influenced me, but somehow these nuns, they have this caring, compassionate, also traits. So in that year, that my family taught me another lesson of caring and compassion. So I decided after I finished high school to go for nursing. And the other question about immigrating here, I was drawn by the culture, the diversity. I always liked curious about other countries, other cultures. So that drew me here, and also by the quality of life and curiosity about working in a first world country. So I'm from Brazil, South America. We are developing country. So lots of differences, and that was what drew me here.
Thank you very much for all those personal details. Yes, actually, the history of nursing in Canada, nursing was provided by nuns very much so at the beginning of this country. So I like that connection for you. And now
Yeah.
we will turn to Dr. Ramesh. So again, what made you want to become a nurse, and then why a nurse in Canada?
Tina, thank you very much for the kind introduction. At the outset, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Ruth Lee, Rolam Badar, and the entire CARE team for giving us this opportunity to share our journey. It's humbling, it's a proud moment, and I would like to share my journey. And I want to wish everyone who's attending this a happy Nursing Week. As we celebrate the birthday of Florence Nightingale, I just want to, remind every one of you, Florence Nightingale is known to be the lady with a lamp. And I want to imagine all of us, each one of us is a miniature of that lady with a lamp. Imagine we are going to the bedside carrying that lamp and making sure that the entire bedside is illuminated because of our light. Anybody who comes in to provide care can see this patient and the family very well, and then they can provide the care that is required. So that's the role that all of us are playing. To answer the question, how did I become a nurse? In the first place, I did not know anything about nursing when I joined nursing. My father went and got the application, so I don't have any spicy stories to tell you, like why I wanted to become a nurse. But then when I became a nurse, I realized, when I was at the age of 12, I had fever. We were living in the South Indian village, and my mother carried me we had, like, she had to travel, or she had to walk more than 2 kilometers to get into a bus to go to the town to get treatment. So she carried me. Rolla, please don't think I was so fat at that time. I was not. I was thin. But even then, 12 years boy to be carried by the mother.
I was, and I still chubby.
Thank you. So she carried me, and then I went to the doctor. Doctor gave me some treatment. I became okay. She looked after me so well. That made me think that I did not choose who my mother was going to be. I was placed in this person's lap, and God knew, or whoever the supernatural power knew, that this is the person who's going to be looking after me well. Exactly like that, at the bedside, patients don't choose who their nurses are going to be. We are placed there for a purpose, for a reason. That made me continue with the profession. And that's the journey. When I started without knowing, when I came in, I realized, oh, this is a perfect fit because it actually intersects with so many things, just not the clinical skills, critical thinking, and empathy, and has that human connection. So I continued to be a nurse. Where did I come to Canada? Like many of you, I'm still wondering where did I come, but I came because to pursue professional opportunities and for my family. Like all the internationally educated nurse, we want good things for our family, so we came in this country. And my interest in nursing has always gone beyond bedside care. I have a strong academic background with degrees in psychology, sociology, counseling, and nursing. So that interdisciplinary foundation actually led me to focus on areas that intersect health, behavior, and social systems. My goal has always been to serve both as a caregiver and an advocate, someone who not only provides care, but also helps shape the future of nursing through research, teaching, and policy. And I would like to continue in the same direction because that's rewarding. That's rewarding to me, rewarding to the members whom I serve as well. Thank you.
Thank you for the personal recollections as well as the professional outlook. Great stories from all three of you. Thank you so much. So now we'll go to each panelist separately with the next few questions. So Belinda, what are some common misconceptions people have about IENs? And how do you think we can combat any of those misconceptions?
Yes, actually, that's a very, very nice question because this happened so many times, especially with IENs. I have encountered, I have knew a lot of IENs who came from their background, their expertise, and everything. But one common misconception is that IENs are not as competent or skilled as locally trained nurses. And this is really heartbreaking because I believe that this is far from the truth. Many IENs arrive with years, sometimes decades of experience back home with advanced knowledge and an incredible work ethics. So it's really heartbreaking. Another misconception is that language or accent is a barrier to communication. But in reality, diversity in speech enriches our teams and our patient care. As a past director of care, I have seen firsthand how IENs bring innovation, cultural sensitivity, and deep compassion to our healthcare system. To combat these misconceptions, we need to create mentorship programs, provide culturally safe orientation, and foster environment where IENs are encouraged to speak, lead, and shine. And I've seen this with CARE, our agency or non-organization agency with CARE that helps us outgrow all of these things. So thank you, CARE Center, because being a part of this membership has grown me and have teach me a lot of things. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that answer. And yes, our program manager, Rola, has also contributed an article on mentorship, or a chapter, I should say, to a recent publication that if you wanted to find out more about that, you can certainly contact us at Care Center and we can direct you to that resource. And I can also put a plug in here for our workplace integration program as well. That is available to employers, addressing some of those exact points that you just made for us, Belinda.
Thank you.
Luciana, what question on the subject of IENs, are you just tired of hearing? And what would you like to say about it?
I was like tired of hearing that question. Not say tired, but it's often I'm asked, "Where are you from?" Because I speak in certain way. I'm different. Like we are all diverse, all unique, and so working with a diverse population, and I think my country, Brazil, it's not. It's big. You will find there is a big community, but especially in the Toronto area. Not where I live. I think I'm the only one. But when the community that I worked in the hospital in emergency department in Vaughan in Richmond Hill, the community is more like Italian communities, or we get some Spanish as well, diverse and from everywhere in the world. But this question is, where are you from? It's the one that comes, and I took this question as a way of connecting with clients and families, and because they bring always like something fun and something interesting, beautiful from my country and from my culture, and so it's a way that I turn into connected with them and provide initiating that patient nurse patient relationship.
Wonderful. Yes, that's what I've learned after this is my 15th year, I guess, working with Care Center, that our IENs can turn on a dime to turn something negative into a positive, definitely. So Dr. Ramesh, what have been your biggest challenges as an IEN and how did you overcome them? And maybe another two-part question to this, what was the most rewarding aspect of your IEN journey in Canada once you got over those initial obstacles?
Thank you very much, Sheena. That's a wonderful question. Let me start with a small story. Anyone who migrates to another country is like an uprooted tree. When you uproot a tree and replant it, the tree requires additional nourishment, additional protection, extra care. And it's okay to ask for that extra help, right? The challenges, like anybody else, like any other internationally educated nurse, I also face challenges with long wait times and credential recognition. Don't know where to go, what to do, and those kind of the same anxieties, same challenges that all the or most of the IENs face. I also face the same thing. I strongly believe that integrating into the society is very important to be a successful immigrant in any new country. I still remember when I first went to Tim Hortons and asked for a cup of coffee, they asked me, "How do you take it?" I said, "I take it in a cup and drink it." I didn't know double, double, triple, triple. I'm still learning about those nuances. And I would strongly encourage people to get these different aspects of living in a society, right? These are nuances of the unique Canadian communications, unique Canadian ways of living, without forgetting our international roots. I am here not in spite of being an internationally educated nurse. I'm here because I am an internationally educated nurse, and I bring in that richness of culture and the richness of that experience. And then I'm here with the hope and confidence that I may be able to contribute significantly to shaping the nursing profession in Canada. Now, how did I overcome these challenges, right? When I came in, I was waiting for the credential assessments, as any of you would do as an IEN. At that time, I was feeling I was in a well sinking, and I wanted somebody to throw me a life jacket. And I looked around. There was a program at York University, the post-RN BSN program. It's a 2-year program and gives you undergraduate degree. And I was thinking, oh my God, I already have completed my graduate degree. I have a master's degree in nursing. Do I want to go back and take an undergraduate degree again? And to add fuel to the fire, my wife came in with a Bachelor of Science in Nursing, and she was asked to go ahead with the NCLEX exam. Her education was considered to be equivalent to Canadian BSCN at that time. And I came in with a Master of Science in Nursing. with several years of experience, and I was told that I had to get additional education. And then I said, okay, let me try this. My wife was a strong encourager. Like, she encouraged me to go in and get this BSCN program. I went in. And to think back now, I think it was a blessing in disguise, because that opened a lot of doors when I went into the program. I completed BSCN program. I can call myself as a Canadian educated nurse, but I still want to call myself as an IEN. That's my identity. And when I completed, I actually came to know a lot of professors at York University. I knew how the university operates, and I was able to apply for my PhD program because my Master of Science in Nursing was recognized. And that led me to complete my doctoral degree. I became the first PhD graduate of the School of Nursing. This is, I'm not saying just to blow my trumpet. This is just to share my journeys. I want to know that if I can do it, everybody else can do it as well. There are a number of ways you can overcome these challenges. One, you could be talking about these challenges and sitting idle without doing anything, or you could be taking a number of steps. First step is becoming a member with CARE organization. They do an amazing job. And I want to, at this time, congratulate Dr. Lee, because they've gone pan-Canadian. They've gone into other provinces also. So I'm so happy and thrilled to see that there'll be so many more IENs will be helped to achieve their goals. So thank you, Dr. Lee, for doing this. Thank you for your vision and leadership. And then along the way, like as I said, I am an uprooted tree. I need extra nourishment and care. So many people offered to help me. So many people gave me extra time. When I started my career in the ICU, in the intensive care unit, when we were trying to provide oxygen to a patient, and the oxygen has a flow meter, and it has a small connection where you put the tube in and then connect the nasal prompts. And the nurse was helping, and I was there during the first few days, and she looked at me and said, "Go grab a Christmas tree." I said, "Oh, maybe this patient needs oxygen. You need trees around the patient because the trees give out oxygen." I was like wondering what is happening. Then she showed me Christmas tree is a small connection that gets attached to the flow meter, and then you attach the tube, and it makes it easier for the flow. It is just a connection. I did not know this. There are so many things I did not know, and I'm not ashamed of it, because if you take a Canadian educated nurse to another country, they will also have these challenges. I just need that extra help. And if you give me extra help, like, the fruits of the tree don't fall away, it just falls there. So internationally educated nurses, once they get into one institution, they're very, very loyal. They stay in that institution for a long period of time. So the takeaway message is that if you need help, ask for it, ask early, don't be ashamed of your roots, the international roots. Thank you.
That was perhaps the most rewarding aspect, was that you can multi-purpose Christmas trees. That's great.
Thank you.
I love that story. So Belinda, if we can go to your leadership role that you had in long-term care, where you were working with a good number of IENs, and some of them newly registered and new on the job. What do you think are the most critical adaptation skills that need to be considered as an IEN to face evolving changes effectively? So there are all those changes our IENs go through to finally get their bridging education, if so directed, their registration, that employment. So what is critical to adapting to changes?
Thank you so much, Tina, for that question. I love your story, Dr. Ramesh. I like your story, and I can also resonate with you because before I actually pushed my husband as well. He was when we came in here, she's an IT professor, even finished his master's degree, and then I pushed him to get RPN or nursing here, and then it took him a while to adopt in Canadian culture. But then now he is now an RPN. I'm proud to say that he's now an RPN working in a long-term care, and as well as with my son, who is now an RPN as well. So they follow my path as an IENs here in Canada. So I love that, Dr. Ramesh. Thank you so much for that story. I can resonate with that. Yes. Adaptability starts with actually with mindset. I know IENs, international educated nurses, must be open to learning. We need to learn. They always keep on telling me, why you're always studying, Belinda? Why are you all? Because I know I need to adapt myself to the current culture here in Canada. Not just about clinical practice, but about Canadian culture as well. Patients' rights, interprofessional collaboration, and the importance of documentation. This is actually what I am telling my husband and my son. Every time you do something, you have to document it by our, everything. You have to document what happens to your patients and everything. I always keep on pushing and telling my husband and my son not to forget to document, because that will save them later on. So emotional resilience is also critical. The process is not easy. You may face rejection, isolation, or doubt, but persistence, humility, and the willingness to seek support will help you thrive. I remember when I first came in here in Canada, I was really frustrated because what am I doing here? I'm a registered nurse back home. I'm a clinical instructor there. I work as a clinical instructor. So now I came here to Canada and just to start from the scratch. So that's really one of the frustrations. But later on, when someone introduced me the care center, I never think twice. I registered it and I found my case manager, Lourdes. And since then, up to now, she's really a big help for me. So thank you, Lourdes. I know you're watching. So personally, I embrace feedback, built a strong network, and never let fear stop me from stepping into leadership. Learn to unlearn and relearn. Be patient with yourself. You are not starting over. You are building on your foundation. So we came here as a nurse. Yes, we are an IEN, but all we need to do is a continuous education, adapt ourselves to Canadian healthcare setting, understand the policy of the company where you are working right now, and I think you will be good at the end. So do not get intimidated by people who telling you that, oh, she's an IEN, she doesn't know everything. No, do not get intimidated by those words, because those are part that we encountered as we journey our nursing career here in a new country, a new environment. All you need to do is to adapt yourself. Continuous education will help you continue with your career as a nurse here in Canada. So thank you.
Thank you for that. All kinds of different skills for adaptation that you have shared. Luciana, so we asked you what question on the subject of IENs were you tired of hearing? So what question would you like to hear more about IENs or from IENs?
Yes, that's a question that I love it, because it's a question that it's my desire to hear more from them, that they are engaged with their professional association or organizations like Care Center. And when I was able to join Care Center, my life changed, right? My life changed, and it continues changing. And that's why I'm here today as a case manager and supporting IENs, because what I see, Dr. Ramesh, Belinda, they resonate with family, family, his wife, and now she brought it up, her husband, supporting her husband coming to nursing. And for me, my family inspiring me to be a nurse, right? The care within my family. So we are role models, right? And our examples, our actions influence others. And my desire is to hear that this connection with organizations like Care Center, the professional organizations like RERPN, the Registered Practical Nurse, RNAO, the Registered Nurse Association of Ontario, the Canadian Nurse Association, and others, helps you to grow and to move on in your career and in your path So now I have a question for IENs. How have you connected with organizations like Care Center or INO, VRPN, and the others during your journey? And what impact has that support and networking had on your integration into the nursing in Ontario? So for me, the integration and the supports, it continues to be very strong. I started my career in Ontario by myself when I found the employment in the community and teaching IENs in a private career college. But my desire was to get a job back in a hospital as in the emergency department, as I had previous experience. And Care Center helped me with that when I connected with a colleague within the network that knew about the job fair, and she didn't drive. And I was the one, I had my license, I drive. And I said, I can take you a ride. I can give you a ride and we can go to that job fair. And I printed my resume, I had everything ready, went to the job fair at Mackenzie Health. We arrived at the end of the interviews, and there was a big line. And they opened the door and they said, we are running out of time. Who has emergency experience? Please come, raise your hand. I was at the end of the line. I ran and got an interview and a job and worked in emergency department for 7 years. Career changes throughout these years because life happens, and I became a mother. I worked before pandemic, pre-pandemic, during pandemic, and post-pandemic. When came back from maternity leave, it was the end of 2019, so just before the pandemic started. And I worked through all of this pre, during, and post-pandemic. And it was hard. It was hard raising a kid and work in emergency department. And also it sparked me as my personal experience always inspires me to pursue professional qualifications and advanced education to provide high quality care for patients. So I started studying breastfeeding course during pandemic, during working emergency. I remember looking at programs. So in 2021, I started my first breastfeeding course. So that journey in the lactation field, it's been 3 years since 2021. And in my story that Tina presented, it's been every year of studies. So I continue learning studies and advancement in the career. And so 2022, I became RN, and then 2023, I completed my bridge program. No, sorry, my lactation support certificate program from Humber College. And that was not enough because I did some clinicals in the hospital that I worked in the emergency department. I did some clinicals in the maternal child department, but the hours was not enough, and I needed more. So I needed more exposure to different settings. So I'm bringing always like tasting different settings, not only in the hospital. So I went to community. I went to a mentorship program. I took 500 clinical hours with a lactation consultant in the community clinic, breastfeeding clinic as well. And that was a very different journey. It's been a very different journey. And be in Care Center as a case manager, also it's a journey that it's very different from what I've done before in the past. But it's a journey that I'm here to show to show that there is hope. There is how can I say, you can be successful. And Care Center is here to support you and celebrate your success. So I'm very happy. Thank you so much.
Thank
I'm
you
always
for that.
grateful to be here.
Thank you for that. So audience members, I think Luciana has given a few calls to action there. I'm feeling a little exhausted just thinking about all the things she's been doing. But yes, so that's her question to you. What have you done lately to advance your career? And certainly relying on those professional associations and exploring mentorship. getting out to those job fairs if you feel like a change of your role, all kinds of things to explore there. So, Dr. Ramesh, what do you think? What is the #1 way IENs can make a substantial difference? Either, I guess, on a personal basis or for the nursing sector as a whole, perhaps? And how have you felt you've made a difference?
Thank you, Tina, for that question. Before answering that question, I just want to piggyback on what Luciana said. Thank you, Luciana, for sharing that. I can't but appreciate Dr. Ruth Lee and the care team for continued advocacy. And because of that, CNO made a policy to introduce SPEP program. Otherwise, nurses were, those who had their safe practice expired, they had to either go back to the country or they had to get into another program. So this made a huge difference in the lives of IENs. Thank you, Dr. Lee. And the number of initiatives that Care Center offers, whether it is preceptorship, whether it is communication, whether it is shadowed practice experience, mentorship. Thank you very much for the wonderful things that you're doing. To answer your question, if you ask me what the #1 way IENs can make a difference is by bringing richness of global experience to Canadian healthcare, using that experience to advocate, educate, and lead. Now, as IENs, we bring more than just clinical skills. We bring resilience. We are here starting all over again from scratch. You've listened to the stories of all three of us. All of us have started from scratch. That's resilience. We bring cultural understanding. We bring diverse ways of thinking and caring. Western ways of caring it used to be the best way of caring. Not anymore. We have many, many different ways of caring for people. And Western medicine is not the only best. These are not just trends, they are assets that can improve patient outcomes and build stronger, more inclusive healthcare teams. So don't shy away from bringing your experience, your cultural background, and the wealth that you've accrued in the past, right? On a personal level, I felt I made a difference by not just by returning to practice, but by sharing my journey, supporting IENs, and contributing to conversations about equity and access in profession. My background in nursing education, psychology, and sociology has helped me to look at healthcare not just through a clinical lens, but through a social lens. I've used that perspective to mentor others, advocate for fairer credentialing system. And I've been a part of various committees that are advocating for a fairer credentialing and transition to practice system. As I mentioned, when I was waiting for the credential recognition to be completed, I felt I was in a well and sinking. When the credential recognition was over and I became a registered nurse, I felt I was in an ocean sinking again, because that's how the work atmosphere used to be. When you go into the workspace, you have people who are already there, who are experienced and the Canadian educated. You need to find someone who will be with you. And Rola can talk more about mentorship. She has authored a chapter as well. And that is important. And I was lucky and blessed to have people who helped me along the way. So finding that mentor is important, and that mentorship can enrich your journey. And I truly believe that IENs are in a unique position to lead change, not in spite of our international background, but because of it. And if we speak up, support one another, and remain committed to a lifelong learning, we can help shape a nursing profession that is not only competent, but truly global, inclusive, and just. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thoughts and words, and thank you for bringing up the Supervised Practice Experience Partnership, as it's now called, being run by the CNO. And I'm not sure if she's with us today because I can't see, but I just wanted to recognize our professional practice lead, Ruth Wychuk, who was a big proponent of getting the program, the pilot that we did, with our employer partners. We've told her that she's not allowed to retire. So, Ruth, I'm just going to reiterate that again. It's Ruth Wychuk. If you're with us today, Ruth Lee, same goes for you, Rola. That's across the board. Okay, why don't we have another group question and answer? What piece of advice do you have to give IENs? You've shared all kinds of great encouragement and wisdom, but if you wanted to narrow down to one thing, if they're finally registered, they finally got that job, they're going to finally be a Canadian nurse, what piece of advice would you have for them? So Belinda, I guess we'll go back to you.
Yeah, with regards to SPEP, I am so proud to say that I mentor a few of RPNs when I was still in pioneer elder care. So in that, yeah, so I mentored some RPN for that SPEP instead of them going back to, to their country, and one RNs actually before I left that company. So the piece of advice that I can give to our IENs right now who are here with us, who are about to start or who are going to start their journey for taking nursing, never forget why you started. You are not here by accident. You have value, experience, and a purpose. Be visible, speak up, find mentors. Say yes to opportunities even when you feel scared. Canada needs you not just to fill position, but to lead, to teach, and to transform healthcare with your global perspective. You are not just fitting in, you are paving the way for the next generation of IENs. So keep going, you belong here. So as an IENs, I encourage you to go out from your comfort zone. Do not be shy. Find your mentors and be a member of Care Center, because Care Center really helps a lot. It helps me a lot. If they help me a lot, if they help me to where I am right now, they can help you too. From starting, from everything, from building up your resumes and everything like that. So for all your journey until you became or working as an RN here or as a nurse here in Canada, they are here to support you. So go get your member to Care Center. Thank you.
And I think, Luciana, you're next in line then to answer that. One core piece of advice that you could share for an IEN who is at the beginning of the journey, maybe in that first job?
Yes, so sometimes life will test you, but remember this. When you walk up a mountain, I see mountains as challenges. I always call them mountains. So when you're walking up a mountain, your legs get stronger. So don't give up. Keep walking. And so before coming to Canada, I went to South Africa. I traveled in 2010. I came to Canada in 2011. So I traveled to South Africa for exchange as an exchange student for English, a second language course program. I spent a month, and it was the year 2010 of Africa being host of the World Cup, the soccer World Cup. And I was there. I saw all the movement in the city, in the place, the community, and the vibe of receiving already people from all over the world in the school for English. And then we had this, what can I say? We go like this tour in the city, and I went to climb a mountain for the first time in my life. And they have this beautiful in South Africa Table Mountain. Not sure if anyone is aware of. Table Mountain is a very big mountain that the clouds covers the mountain as a tablecloth. So when you go, you can go up using the cable car. So I did that with the Table Mountain. That wasn't the one that I climbed. But, and then you can enjoy the sunset above the clouds. And I've done that, and it was beautifully. It was a moment, it was my transition moment, going out of Brazil, exploring the world, and getting my communication skills to put in practice. So that was my first, was the trip of my life, I would say. And then I climbed the mountain that has a view to the Table Mountain, and it calls Lion's Head. And I climbed that mountain with friends from the school. I had a friend that was very tired during the way, and we stopped, and we appreciated the view. So and celebrate and cherish that view, and appreciate, be grateful for where you are, because you're gonna reach the top. Keep climbing, you will reach the top. And believe in yourself, first of all, you can do it. Have patience, dedication, faith, and perseverance. Face the systemic barriers. I faced so many. It took me 5 years to get into the system. And again, we bring family as your biggest motivation. My husband here. After 6 years finishing my English course, I met my husband here. He's a Canadian, first generation, like Tina. And he was the one that found Care Center for me, actually. There was a booth in a fair in the street or somewhere. He passed by and they gave him a flyer. He went there actually to get a flyer. And he was asked, like, but you don't look internationally. Are you internationally nurse? International educated nurse? And you don't look like international. And he was, no, I'm Canadian, but my girlfriend, we were dating. My girlfriend is a nurse, international educated nurse. I'm getting this for her. And so, but at that time, I wasn't eligible to become a member of Care Center. So I spent 3 years to become a member. And, but how life happens, it's so interesting. We are all here for a purpose. There is a purpose for this. I find that we have a mission, and I have passion for nursing and a mission to help others. Healthcare professionals, nursing students, or patients and clients and communities. So facing the systemic barrier with courage, balancing education, work, and family responsibilities. Resilience in action, find strength in facing of the challenges. You can build resilience by peer support, mentoring, continuous learning. The power of flexibility, be flexible. Embrace change with openness. Example, switching roles, return to school, learning new systems, like in a long-term care, in acute setting, community. Find self-fulfillment through purpose, passion for nursing, and make that change, advocating for orders. And you can find also self-fulfillment with patient care and mentorship. Celebrating our collective success. IENs enrich Canadian healthcare with global knowledge, diversity, and compassion. Every success story opens doors for others. So speak up, as Belinda mentioned. We didn't just survive, we transformed. Celebrate every milestone. As I said, give yourself a pause and cherish the view, big or small. Let's celebrate how far we've come and how far we are going. Let your story inspire others. That's my advice. Thank you, Tina.
That was some phenomenal imagery there. My goodness. And I love the cloud tablecloth coming over the mountain too. So Dr. Ramesh, you're in the teaching world. So what piece of advice do you give IENs? If they're still in school, maybe they're not working as yet. Maybe some of them are juggling both of those things. But what would one core piece of advice that you could give?
Thank you, Tita. Waiting for credential assessment to be completed, waiting for registration, waiting to start as a registered nurse. The period is sometimes very long for people, sometimes short. but it is a frustrating period. And you find all your resources are becoming thin. And there will be a lot of distractions at that time. When I was in that situation, somebody told me, you could become a security guard. Nothing wrong in becoming a security guard, but that gives you a job and financial security. So I decided I'll become a security guard, and I went in for the training, got all the pamphlets, went home and told my wife happily. And she looked at me and said, security guard? Even I don't get scared of you. You think the others will get scared of you? You are a healthcare professional. Try and focus in that area. That brought me back to be focused on my goals. One of the things that I want to remind you is that do not let the system define your worth. You're more than a credential or a title. You're a nurse, and that identity travels with you. People say once you're a nurse for a lifetime. You're a nurse for the entire family. You're a nurse for the entire society. When I still visit my village, I go, a lot of my old uncles will come and they'll ask you, how are you? After that initial introductory question, they'll start telling about their health problems because they know I am a healthcare professional. And, they'll start telling me, oh, I don't have any problem, just that I'm eating well, I'm, urinating well, I work hard, I sweat a lot, no issues at all. I'm thinking in my mind, you probably are a diabetic person, so please go and get it checked, right? But then the confidence that they have in us, it is for lifetime. It doesn't fade away because you cross borders. It is not defined by the borders. Starting all over in a new country can be still daunting. It may feel like you're being asked to prove yourself all over again. Even, someone asked me, do you have a recognized BLS certification? I was wondering, what is recognized BLS certification? I was certified as a BLS instructor by American Heart Association. I was a BLS instructor in my home country. So don't lose sight of the experience, knowledge, and compassion that brought you this far. Those things are not erased by borders. Be patient with the process, but persistent with your goals. Build a support network, seek mentorship, ask for help whenever you need help. And sometimes you get frustrated. Humor. I remember going into one of the units in UHN as a student in the BSCN program. When I went in, there was a patient who was having an intravenous infusion and the IV pump was alarming. So I went in and I was trying to silence the alarm. The nurse who was assigned to this patient came running and looked at me. Oh, stop. What are you trying to do? I said, I'm just trying to silence. Do you know what this is? She thought I'm a student who's just starting. She doesn't know that I have my Master of Science in Nursing, I've trained students, all that. She doesn't know. I mean, it's not her fault. And then she said, she looked at the IV line and she said, can you go run and get me a 5 ml syringe? So I went and brought a 5 ml syringe for her. She was a recent graduate. And then she tried, flushing the line, but it didn't work. And then she said, okay, can you go run and get me a 4x4 gauze piece? I went and brought it. By the time I was getting frustrated, actually. And then it still didn't work. And then third time, she looked at me and said, can you run and get me a saline flush? I looked at her and said, this time you have to run with me because I don't know where the saline flush is. And she started smiling. And then we sorted out that patient. We came out. And then she looked at me and started asking me, okay, where are you from? What is your background? And that was a wonderful conversation. And the entire shift was so nice. And we had mutual respect for each other. And we worked so well. Sometimes it is frustrating at that moment. Yes, just face it. And face it with all the coping skills that you have. So move forward. You may have started as an internationally educated nurse, but you have every right to become a nationally recognized leader. So keep your contribution, keep going, and your journey, as challenging as it may be, can be someone else's inspiration. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Dr. Ramesh. You always can bring a smile to people's faces with your experiences and your stories. So I also have some surprise questions because I do like it when people give impromptu answers. So since we do have a bit of time, Betsy, I don't know if you've been keeping an eye on the chat. Is there anything that's come up there that we should be
If
sure to make time for?
if we can, there is a question that in the Q&A, and I wanted to bring this up before we go through our last questions, and it does have to do with the York University Bridging Program. We know there's a few programs out there, and I mentioned it at the beginning, and we have the program director here to speak of it, because I guess these stories and that we're hearing are inspiring our people on the call to further advance their careers and further do more to professionally develop. And thank you, Fedosa, for your question. They've met the education requirements with CNO. Am I still eligible for the bridging program at York University?
That's a very good question. Sorry, do you want me to answer now, Bessie?
I would like you to answer, Dr. Ramesh. You're the perfect one to answer that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's a wonderful question. Having met the education requirement does not give you the registration as RN. You still have to meet the registration requirement, right? The only, the only issue with the admission is that if you are a registered nurse in this country, you're not eligible to apply to the BSCN program at York University. And I'm changing it next year. That's going to be changed because we have a lot of diploma nurses who have become RNs and they need to upgrade themselves with an undergraduate degree. So next year, yes. But if you have met the education requirement, you can still apply to the RN BSCN program, this year if you're not a registered nurse already. Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. So, and I'll guide Fedosa to our case manager. We'll be more than happy to support you choosing the best pathway and giving you all the informed decisions, because getting that bachelor's degree from York University will support you further advancing and growing onwards and upwards. Sorry, Tina, for the interruption, and thank you, Dr. Ramesh.
No, that's great. It's certainly one of the most important and one of the first programs supporting IENs. So we love everyone at York. So please find out more. Okay, here's an impromptu question. You have all been at the bedside or back to the bedside, Belinda? Best day on the job. Best day on the job as a bedside nurse. What comes to mind? Either one you can remember or what a best day would look like.
Going back to, it actually fires me inside of me when I did my clinical placement, when I did my bridging program. And when I started my clinical placement in the hospital, acute setting in the hospital. So I'm so lucky because I got a hospital experience as for my clinical placement. And that brings me back my love to do the bedside care. That brings me back the passion, because if you touch lives, it's a very important thing, because these are sick people and they need you to have a compassion. What they need is a compassion care. So that drives me to become to go back to the bedside care, because way back home I was in academe. I only have a few experience with the bedside care, but then when I came back here, that is what I am telling the the IENs who would like to go back to practice here as a nurse, be a leader or bedside care. But I always keep on telling them with their SPEP, it's better if they can get the training in the hospital care, in acute settings, because it's really different. I know my what do you call this thing? I have that in mind, that anatomy doesn't change. Yes, of course. We are all studied nursing. Anatomy doesn't change. But because you are here in different country, you need to practice, because you need to practice more in this country. You need to adapt yourself so that you can give your best in the clinical or in the acute setting case. So that's actually, if you want to continue your career going back to bedside care, I encourage you to do your SPEP here, to learn more, or have actually volunteer or shadow somebody else. If your expertise is in ER, you need to connect with the manager so that they can assign you to a best mentor, uh, to shadow them while working in the ER. So yeah, so just continue and learn the Canadian healthcare setting, know the policies and procedures and everything like that, and you'll never get wrong. Thank you.
Yes, you at the top of that answer, you talked about the compassion that nurses bring, and so we always ask our member IENs to practice self-compassion as well, as we've all been discussing all these bumps in the road. But yes, just being those kind of people that know that you're encountering people not having a good day, in some cases having maybe their worst day. And yet you're framing that in all the professionalism that you bring to nursing to do your best. So Luciana, any thoughts about what a best day on the job being a nurse looks like?
Very self-fulfilling as coming back to the profession. And I have a photo that I took before. We used to go to CNO in person for all like the application and things like that. I received a letter. I have a photo with my letter that I received from CNO saying that I was registered first as a registered practical nurse when I started my career. So I had lots of struggle the 5 years to get into the RN role that I had it before. And I said, I'm not gonna risk. The exam in Canada was only 3 times. I took 2 times the following year that I arrived, and I failed. And I said, I'm not gonna lose my last chance and go back to university. That was the option at the time, to do a bachelor degree again. I have already a bachelor degree, 4 years in university, and plus 4 years of work experience as RN in educational and the clinical settings. I'm not going back. So I decided to take the pathway to go and register as a registered practical nurse. And that was wonderful. I don't regret. I don't regret my 6 years that I spent working as RPN. And when I started as RPN, my first 2 roles was educational and clinical. So clinical, work in a community, very different. I was driving to schools, retirement homes, and also the residences, like the houses. And the passion, when I was teaching Brazil, I was teaching in the nursing maternal child department in the nursing university. And my role, because I was also working in emergency, was to work in the pediatric emergency room of 2 hospitals, supervising and mentoring these nursing students, undergrad nursing students. And that experience, when I came to Canada, I applied to be a living caregiver, and I was taking care of a special need kid. So I was I was doing that. And when I got my license, I with St. Elizabeth, working in a community, I loved working in schools with the kids, because the nurse has a vital role. We have a vital role to be there before their lunchtime, to provide the diabetic management for their kids, to check their sugar, to give their insulins before they eat. It's vital. Feeding for me, it's been like since that experience, right from now, being a lactation consultant, like working towards being a lactation consultant and work with feeding newborns and infants and child, providing the best for them. And so that brings me experience working with kids and in schools that I loved the most. And also going to retirement homes for wound care and other things, and visiting clients in homes. So, and also teaching international educated nurses in the meantime. So I was doing like it was so self-fulfilling. It was very, very, very good when my first experience coming back to the profession, even though I was back as a registered practical nurse, but that was great for my growth. And here I am as a registered nurse for in Canada for 3 years now. 2, 3, 4, 5 years. That's it.
All kinds of fantastic days on the job there. Yeah,
And I
the whole
celebrated. Yeah, sorry. In 2022, I had a cake in emergency department for my first shift as RN. I have that photo.
Aw, now
Yes.
that's a stellar day on the job.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Besh, I think we have just 5 minutes left in this session. So for you, impromptu question, what was one of your best day or your best day on the job, or what would one look like?
Thank you, Tina. Belinda explained it very well. Like bedside is where nursing begins, and Luciana added to that saying, "I know how rich bedside nursing is, and it is where nursing begins, and it is where the deepest impact is felt as well." And someone said, "A nurse is there to open the eyes of a newborn and to close the eyes of the dying." That's the impact that nurses make. I can just describe one incident in the intensive care unit when I was providing care to an elderly woman, 88, 90 years old. She was actually dying with severe sepsis. And I started providing care to that person that day. And I saw a young man walking into the unit and wanted to visit this mother. And I told her, I told that person, just let me check. The family had provided a list of names of people who were allowed to visit this person. When I looked at the list, this person's name was not there. So I was talking to that person and said, no, I can't allow you because your name is not listed. The family is sitting outside. If you want to go in and talk to them and see what is happening. This person was, it was hesitant. He was not leaving. He was just standing there. When I was having this conversation, I saw a nurse who's an experienced nurse came running to me and asked, Ramesh, what's happening? I explained this situation, and she said, no, wait. She asked him, are you the son of this lady? And he said, yes. And the son and the mother have not been talking for the past 20 years. He had left 20 years ago. And the mother had narrated the story to the nurse who had looked after this patient a few days ago. And she remembered it. And she said, let us allow this man. She allowed him to go in, and he went in, and you could have seen the glorious reunion and reconciliation that happened between the mother and the son. And the mother passed away in peace within few hours after that reunion and reconciliation. And I was thinking of that day, right? What if I had made the mistake of not allowing that person? What if this senior nurse did not come and tell me, to allow this person? So that's the impact that you can create. I'm not ashamed to share this. I could have become a failure at that particular moment, but I hesitated. I just waited, and I listened to the advice of the mentor and allowed this person. This was a wonderful experience. I still remember this. So take a moment, and every moment you are touching lives of people, lives, and you're making a difference in their lives. So because no matter how much knowledge I have, no matter how many degrees I have, it is the human connection that defines my purpose. Thank you.
So on that, you've now made the moderator cry. So no, I guess I will turn things over to Bessie to wrap. Thank you so much for that. I think that story will stay with me forever. Wow. So thank you, panelists all.
Thank you. Before actually I pass it over to you, Rola, I do have a question in the chat box in the Q&A that I'd like to address, because it does talk again about our WHIP program and the mentoring book that Rola has added. Thank you very much, Rola, for adding this information in the chat box. There's a question here on the Q&A. I love the conversation about empowering IENs, but once in the workplace, how do we help Canadian nurses be more accepting and patient and culturally sensitive to the needs of IENs, especially during their integration process? And we have to say, As Rola mentioned in the chat box, one, the mentoring program, and she's written an amazing chapter in that book, but also our workplace integration program addresses this specifically. It's a two-way program, and thanks to Ruth Wojcik and Ruth and Rola, our management team, the visionary team behind all this, it's a two-way process that supports IENs in the organization, but also managers, staff, clinical educators to build and overcome that gap or build on those bridges and build on the strengths. And we have to say our workplace integration program is very in demand. We're very lucky to be participating from the one end of the province to the other. And if you are an employer, please reach out. We'll be more than happy to connect with you. It's a program that we customized based on the specific needs of the organization and the IN. So we'd be more than happy to help. And maybe Rola has a few more things to add on that before we go to a little video and say goodbye for today. But Rola, please go ahead.
I just want to make it quick because I'm cognizant of the time. But again, I want to mention from my position as a program manager, I want to identify myself as an IEN for those who didn't yet actually get to know this. And I really value and appreciate the insights that has been shared today. It really touched our heart. But what we want to take away with is that do not lose your confidence as you bring the global talent, the multiculturalism, and all the skills and knowledge, all what we need to be accepting to learning, as Belinda said, relearning, and as actually Ramesh said, as always, like kind of advocating and contributing to the knowledge that we bring by letting people know that we don't know. Because sometimes we need to let people know that we don't know. It's not like kind of devaluing our skills. And I yesterday shared a story, and I'm going to reshare a quick one. As a clinical educator who was actually appointed at York University, I didn't know the setting. I didn't get the time to be oriented, but I was keen to take the challenge and I was learning. I would hide and go to the supply room to learn about the dressings, about the IVs, about the different solutions, because they are named differently. Though I had years of experience as educator, as a clinical instructor, but it's not the same what I practiced in two different countries. So these are the messages that we have to keep in mind, that keep learning, keep actually being kind of up into those challenges, and never hesitate to reach out, as Ramesh has said, and say, I don't know. I need some help and support. Tap on those mentors, on those who are willing to actually fill your cup without judging you. And even if they judge you, accept that and try to kind of bring to the conversation that it's okay. It's okay to ask. It's okay to not to know. Please allow us, please permit us as IENs to just start our learning journey, our integration. And as Ramesh was always saying the story about the double, I also learned actually the kind of how to get my coffee, because I didn't know, because I don't like it regular, and regular has sugar in it. And then I learned it like, no, I have to do my twist in it. So over the years, I learned how to get my coffee as well. So thank you, Luciana, thank you, Belinda, thank you, Dr. Ramesh, and I should be stopping now. Thank you.
So if you allow me to comment, someone like myself, I've been at the clinical area for a few decades, and I would suggest you need to be the change you want to see. So how do we get people to accept us? Is to be yourself, the professional self you are. We hear all these wonderful qualities. And in addition to what we are doing at Care Center with the Workplace Integration Program, we are working hard, but we cannot do it all. We need every one of you to model the way of what a professional nurse is. And for that, you need to invest in making the change at the clinical area. For the clinical area, you know that there are councils, practice councils. There are interest groups. Be part of those. And don't worry about how much you're going to pay or not get paid, because you will not mind to spend the time then. Now you will get a lot of rewards. I still remember myself as a young nurse at Sunnybrook. When people ask for nurses to join the practice council, many people say, do I get time and a half to do so? Or at least I get the time to do so. And the answer is no, because it's part of your professional responsibility and your investment in your profession. So I come in, I will set my alarm clock for 2 o'clock in the afternoon after a night shift. I come in, and that's how I get to know other nurses. That's how I get to know people from people meaning professors from the University of Toronto sit on our council. So that is how you make change. And when people recognize, wow, you bring so much, you are here to help, you will have many doors open to you. And again, your case manager is your go-to person to how to go about it. I'm very happy to in the mode of grooming the next generation. Rola and I were at Toronto Grace yesterday to be part of their Nursing Week celebration. It was so heartwarming to see a room full of students and a very diverse group. So again, I want to encourage all of you. My motto is be prepared, be adaptable, and most importantly, be courageous and believe in yourself, believe in nursing. Thank you.
Well, how do I come after all that? Everybody on the panel said it so wonderfully, but I do have a 2-minute video to put a little bit additional to that. I think we've been talking about how we can further grow, and we have a little video. It's going to be awkward hearing myself about talking about building skills. The panelists and everybody on the call said it wonderful. I'll add 2 more minutes to that if I can. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bessie Nasiopoulos. I'm an internationally educated nurse, case manager, and professional development lead at Care Center. As we come close to ending this year's Nursing Week events, I would like to take this minute to reflect back on the wonderful, successful stories that were shared throughout the week and that have inspired us all to continue building the power of nursing to transform health. Each one of us has the power to transform health, starting by transforming ourselves, personally and professionally, continuously building on our skills and professional development. Florence Nightingale understood this very well too in the 1800s and had said, "Let us never consider ourselves finished nurses. We must be learning all of our lives." She shined the light for our need to continuously build our skills and adapt in order to transform health. And this too starts with the nursing process, assessing our needs with self-reflection, identifying our goals and challenges, planning our SMART goals, implementing and participating in continuous education, and reevaluating continuously throughout our careers. Please remember, you all have something special. And if you keep on building that, you can accomplish the transformation you each strive for. Building skills continuously keeps us up to date with the latest evidence-based practices, technologies, and techniques, enabling us to advance, develop, and transform into the nursing leaders of the future. Care Center family is always here to support you along the way. We recognize the tremendous value you each bring, and through our case management model and professional development program, we can offer you the tools and strategies you need to build your skills and support your professional development. Good luck to all. Looking forward to celebrating your transformation and successful stories in the near future. Thank you.
Well, that was a bit awkward watching myself speak, but I'm very humbled. This week has not only been about honoring the profession, but also acknowledging each one of you. The heart of healthcare, whether you're at the bedside, behind the scenes, in leadership, in education, or in the community, your work, our work transforms lives every single day. And very shortly, we will be honoring and recognizing a very important individual that we have here at Care Center, our very own Dr. Ruth Lee, with a career spanning over decades. She has earned many awards and recognitions for her incredible achievements supporting IENs in the Canadian healthcare. And today we'll be receiving the prestigious King Charles III Coronation Medal by the Canadian Nurses Association. We're extremely proud to celebrate the astounding achievements and her passion in championing excellence in nursing care and embracing diversity. If your schedule permits, we welcome you all to join us with the Canadian Nurses Association at 12 noon, where there's going to be a special celebration recognizing the recipients of King Charles III Coronation Medal and our very own visionary leader, Dr. Ruth Lee. I've added the registration link in the chat box. I am humbled this week. Every day has been a crying day of emotions, full of gratitude, full of celebrations. We can't wait to celebrate all of you in the very near future. Happy Nursing Week. And if I don't have anybody else on the call to say something, I would like to welcome everyone as we close. In the webinar attendees, you can please raise your hand. We'll add you here so we can take a group Snapchat. It's the new way of taking pictures. So everybody give me some seconds here as we navigate the virtual world to add you. Please accept. Whoever I see with the raised hand will be getting a message to be promoted as panelists. Please accept that and you will be added so we can take a group picture in the new virtual world we're all living in. 1, 2, 3. Happy Nursing Week. Thank you for everyone's help. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for an amazing week, for an amazing year, thank you for our amazing profession. As we leave today, let's carry forward this humble feeling we have for this noble profession, the motivation to keep learning and growing, and the support of one another as we continue to care. Happy Nursing Week, everyone, and thank you for everything you do.